Aisha Thomas, your leadership and team development expert, giving you the tips and the strategies because team members typically don't quit the organization, they typically quit the leader. And today we're talking about confidence. We are talking about confidence today. And I think as leaders, a lot of us need to recognize those areas that we might not have confidence in. And one of the areas that I was able to actually stumble upon this week is promotion anxiety. I was like, what? But it dawned on me as I was reading it because I have a friend that's actually dealing with this right now. So what is promotion anxiety? So I highlighted something that I found online, right? It says moving up in your field can be more than a little intimidating. So just imagine that you've gotten a promotion. Maybe you're going from the first tier to the mid tier. Maybe you're working on moving up in your field. But what happens a lot of times is now you start to doubt yourself and your confidence is affected. And now you're not thinking that you can perform in that role. You have done everything that you've needed. You've done the studies, you have been executing in your previous role, and now you are prepared. But for some reason, it says on here the thought of increased responsibilities, longer hours, and new managerial duties, for example, can be unsettling and anxiety provoking. For one reason or another, you might even find yourself considering turning down an opportunity, or maybe more than one opportunity over the course of your career because of your nervous feelings. So that's promotion anxiety. So what does that dial back to? Again, it dials back to confidence. And we have to realize as leaders, confidence comes from the inside out. A lot of us are utilizing a lot of things from the external means to become confident. We're doing things externally. We're looking for people on the outside to make us feel good, not recognizing that what we need to do is work on ourselves from the inside out. So let's look at it. I like to find the scientific reasons and look deeper as to why our confidence can be affected. So let's look at the subconscious. So the subconscious mind is not set up to rationalize what it records. So what's happening as you're growing up or as you're maturing or you're going through experiences, your subconscious is just recording these events. What it's not doing, on the bottom it says it does not discern what is true, sensible, logical, correct, or even healthy. It simply records our impressions. It takes in information, gathers from our five senses, and just records it like a tape player. And that's solely what it's doing. So one of the examples I found was, just imagine a young child is hearing maybe their parents on a Sunday evening talk about their issues with finances. Well, what happens is that young child becomes an adult, and what they're not even realize, subconsciously that information has been recorded, and now every Sunday evening they get stressed out. Or every time they're handling money, they get stressed out because of that recording that happened. Because again, the subconscious does not define, like, you know what? This isn't right. This isn't healthy. This is a negative thought. It doesn't do it like that. What it's doing is just recording these events. It's recording our impressions, meaning our emotions, how we felt. So now we're carrying that into our adulthood. We're carrying that into our leadership, and now it's affecting, and we're being triggered subconsciously, and we don't even realize it's happening. And now how we show up externally is being affected. So we really have to take hold and really identify what is happening within our minds and become more aware so we can really shift our confidence. The next thing is self-talk. We don't realize that we are constantly talking in our minds as we go about our day. So just imagine an event happens. It affected your confidence. You don't even know what's happened subconsciously, and now you're starting to have that conversation in your mind. It says if you have low self-esteem or lack confidence, you probably suffer from previously programmed self-talk. So again, another example I found, it says another example is a child who hears from parents or peers that he or she is stupid or unattractive or in some way inferior. That individual may have no memory of the event, but the subconscious mind recorded it, and the impression or that impression of himself or herself lives inside the mind, and now it's affecting your behavior and that self-talk that you are having with yourself. A lot of us don't realize a lot of the things that we experience in past relationships, within our household, a lot of that stuff is affecting how we're thinking. Now it's affecting our subconscious. That trickles into how you're talking to yourself. Now you're telling yourself, you know what? I don't think this promotion is going to work. I don't know if I'm an effective leader. I don't know if I can do this or I can do that. So now you're showing up, and now again, it's affecting how you're showing up. So it's so important that we become more self-aware of the conversations we're having in our mind and what we're saying to ourselves, because again, this could be affecting how we're showing up externally. So how do we do that? What's up, guys? Thank you guys for hopping on. I'm talking about this confidence thing, but attaching it to leadership and how this can affect how you're showing up as a leader. Because if you aren't confident and you have these experiences that you aren't aware of, now you're in a leadership role and you cannot be effective in that role because you lack the confidence. Now you have a promotion opportunity and you can't show up effectively because you don't have confidence. So what do we need to do as leaders to really start walking through this process? I call it the confidence training plan. We need to start reducing those subconscious attackers, because again, it starts with the subconscious. Now we're talking to ourselves negatively, and now our behaviors are effective, where you're like, you know what, I don't think this promotion is for me. Oh, you know what, I don't think I can be an effective leader. And now again, it's affecting how you're showing up as a leader. So one of the first things you need to do is identify what you're saying to yourself. When something happens or if you're uncomfortable, you need to immediately identify what am I saying to myself? Am I repeating those negative words that I was told as a child? Am I repeating those things that I saw on media or I saw somewhere that's saying, you know what, you need to have this degree or that degree in order for you to have this job? And you're like, you know what, I don't even think I deserve this because I don't have a degree. And because I don't have a degree, I can't show up like a leader. I can't take this executive role. So again, identify what you're saying to yourself. The next thing is identify what people are saying to you, because just like these examples that I talked to you about how a child could be in a room hearing a conversation or overhear a conversation, and how that secondhand conversation can now affect how you start to think subconsciously. So what are people saying to you even now as an adult, even now as a leader? What are people saying to you? What kind of adjustments and changes do you need to make in your circles? And the next thing is identify what you're consuming. What are you consuming from media? What are you seeing online? What are you seeing on social media? Like, what is it that you're consuming? Because again, this could be affecting the thoughts that you have of yourself, because you might pop on a video and you don't even realize that the information that person is providing is not effective. It's not true. And now it's affecting how you are thinking about yourself. So really start identifying that. And then what you're going to do is replace each item with the opposite. So now that you've identified what you're saying to yourself, what you need to do is find affirmations. What can you say to counteract those things that you're saying that are negative? Oh, you know what? I don't think I'm qualified. You know what? To counteract that, I am qualified because I've done this, I've done that. Come up with a saying for those who are spiritual, who are biblically based. Find scriptures, find wording that you can use to affirm yourself and say, you know, I can do all things to counteract that thing. The next thing is improve your circles. You've identified what people are saying to you, but really start identifying the circles that you're in. Do you need to get away from people who are less like-minded and get with people who are more like-minded, people who are moving towards their goals, people who have worked on their confidence, people who are positive? So really start identifying if you are in the right type of circles, you have the right type of mentors, and people that are going to support you on the path towards a better mindset. The next thing is, now that you've identified what you're consuming, now you need to replace that negative thing that you've been consuming and reduce it. You need to reduce it and really identify what healthy things can you start watching. What kind of things can you find on YouTube that's more beneficial than what you've been watching before? What can you stop watching on Netflix that you can find something that's positive on Netflix, if there's anything out there, right? Because there are some great things out there that are going to feed your mind, give you the education that you need, but you need to reduce the negative consumption of media or whatever you're consuming that's fueling those negative thoughts. So do those opposites, and now you can reduce those subconscious attackers because you have a plan in place. One exercise I found here, it says on a journal page where you're going to list all your triggers. So things that trigger you, maybe when something happens, or if you have to have an interaction with a team member and you're not comfortable with having those hard conversations, you might get triggered and you might revert to not having the conversation because you're triggered. What you need to do is start to journal that. What are your triggers? List those and identify what kind of conversations you're having in your head when that happens. emotions? What kind of emotions are you exuding? What kind of behaviors are you exuding? So write that down. And then what you're going to have that is maybe on the left column or the right column, what you're going to do is start writing those affirmations, start writing things that are going to be the opposite of that. So those are the things that now you can retrain your brain and your subconscious to record that information. So now as soon as you start feeling anxiety, now you have recorded and you have gone through this document that you have on a regular basis. And now you're recording this information to counteract these attacks that's happening in the subconscious. And this is so real. There's so many leaders out there that are struggling with confidence. Externally, you might think they're confident, but they may not be. They may not be as confident. I can't talk today. They might not be as confident as you think they are. So now they're showing up a certain way, or their behaviors might go or switch a certain way because they're not confident, or they're so stressed out that yes, they're effective in their role, but behind the scenes they're going to the bathroom and they're crying. They're stressed out. So really start making sure that you're taking care of yourself and identifying these areas, because again, I always say that a lot of the things that are happening internally, the traumas we have, the stresses we have, the triggers we have, the lack of confidence we have could affect how we show up as leaders. So really take time to work through this process with your team members, talk to them, help them through the process, because you have team members who will deal with the same thing. And then also we have to realize that as leaders escalate and actually move up and elevate within their roles and responsibilities, their confidence a lot of times takes a hit and they start to doubt themselves. So again, start working on a process for you to counteract this. Start getting around the right circle, start consuming the right things, and now your subconscious is recording healthier things so you can counteract this mindset that you have. Remember, I love this quote that I found: a man cannot be comfortable without his own approval. We have to start approving ourselves as leaders. We have to start letting ourselves know from the inside out, and then it'll show up effectively outside. But it starts with us being confident in ourselves, supporting ourselves, getting ourselves around the right type of circles. And then once we'll start to realize that we're more confident and we have more healthy thoughts going on, which essentially will make us more effective as a leader. And essentially we have to develop future leaders as well. So by this process, you can help the person next to you and be that mentor for that next generation of leaders who might run into the same issue. So remember, it's a cycle, it's a pattern. We heal, we work on ourselves, we become more healthier and effective as leaders, and now we can help the ones next to us, all right? So I hope this information was beneficial. Again, confidence is something from the inside out. So continue to work on those areas.